And welcome back to part 15 of Tomb Raider 2013, where today we're quick travelled over to the Summit Forest where Roth was buried to do the last tomb we're missing, or the last challenge room that they call tombs that we're missing, which is just over here. And you know, because if the indicator in the corner saying secret tomb nearby was an indication, they're like the chime of the bells usually tells you you're right next door to the entrance. But yes, I have been doing my collectathon. This will just be at the start of it, and then after I've got this bit, I'll probably cut until I've done the rest. Well, I'll say cut, like I'll be recording it and then just be removing it. No, I'll just finish this recording after this, finish the collectibles, then start the recording again, and then just put them together. The Stormguard Sanctum. Oh, so I can already tell there's explosives here, so I'm guessing it's testing how much you learnt about the geothermal place, because you would have been there just before you came here. Because keep in mind, after the geothermal, we was in the main fortress, and then from there we moved here. Well, we were moved here after the helicopter crashed. No, so that's literally just there in case you haven't got enough arrows. You can just light it and then like yank it into that, I suppose. But I got enough arrows, so I'll just blow it up and head up and see what we got up there. It's very dark in here as well. It might be the point, another reason why to light all of these, so you can actually see where you're supposed to go. Oh, I see that, yep. And it lights up that there's a wall underneath as it was burning off. Okay, what's next? Oh wait, this is Tomb Raider 2013. That's the whole fucking tomb. Well, at least I've got the map for this area now. Yay. Oh, and I got the trophy. That was the last tomb. Sweet. Well, I say cut, but stop the recording now, and I'll see you once I've got everything. Right. I have got everything now. If I bring up the map, I can show you every single area is 100%. Every single collectible in every area has got everything. Funnily enough, I was missing a camp as well. There was a camp that I never went in, actually like sat by. It was the flooded one, the one where you ended up the barrel and you had to lift it up, the electric barrel that you had to lift up and put the raft under it. I hadn't actually rested at that camp there, and well, at least had it register. But as I said before, I didn't spend any of the skill points or salvage that I got, so I've got 4 skill points now to use, so you can see what I've got, kind of thing. And to be fair, I think, yeah, I'm still going to be 1 upgrade short. So by the time we've done endgame, I'll probably have that. The salvage, on the other hand, I think I'm actually like 1,000 short. Like, I might grind a little off screen to get the last few things, just so I have everything done by the end. But if I just start going through them and just picking up the upgrades that I'd yet to get. Penetrating arrows is pretty cool, to be fair. Like, being able to hit multiple people in one go. But you can see some of these upgrades are incredibly expensive. You've already gone from like 3,600 to 600. But I'm going to put it into... So that's another 400, and I think that's it. I think that's all we can... Yeah, that's it for the upgrades. So we still need like another 1,200, like 200, I think. So I'll be grinding for that off screen. But everything is pretty kitted out now. To use the burst fire on the pistol, if you've got it, press the other shoot button. Like, you know, the rope arrow button. So that might be RB or things like that. But because I got all the GPSs, I'll show them again. You've got 2 Trinity messages. You've got this one. And so these are just teasers for the rest of the trilogy. Because Rise and Shadow is all about Trinity. Especially Shadow. Lara gets a little obsessed with defeating Trinity. And then this is the other one. I was sent here to investigate a new threat to Trinity's interests on this island. When I arrived, I discovered Matthias and his Solari cult. I believed that Matthias could never acquire the star phenomenon, but I was wrong. I should have killed him when I had the chance, but now it's too late. I have been compromised and mortally wounded. My mission incomplete. My time is short. If you have deciphered the numbers and found this stash, then you must be my replacement. Kill Matthias. He's close to reawakening the enemy that has been long dormant. This cannot be allowed to happen. So Queen Himiko is a long enemy of this trinity, which is, like, interesting, because I don't think it ever gets brought up ever again beyond this, that they had an enemy in Queen Himiko. But then that just makes me wonder how old Trinity is. Well, I guess that's the point, to make them add to the mystery. Even if you've played the later games, you know what it actually amounts to. But when you're ready, jump on the boat. The moment you touch it, is the moment you're, like, locked into endgame. You're not past the point of no return though yet, but you are entering the last act.
Lara, what do you expect to find in there?
Do you really want to know?
No, but you should tell me anyway.
There's the soul of an ancient Sun Queen trapped in a dead body. Her rage is what's causing these storms. If we destroy the body, the storms will stop.
Right. And why does Matthias want Sam?
I don't know. And that's what's scaring me the most. Look, I know this is a crazy plan.
Yeah, it is. But right now, crazy is all we got. So let's do this.
Let's go.
No. I'll need you and Reyes to guard the main entrance while I go in after Sam.
You're going in there alone?
More people means more danger of being spotted. I need you here taking out as many of those bastards as you can. It won't just be the Solari either. There'll be others. Samurai, the Queen's Stormguard. Look, anything that's not me or Sam, shoot it.
My little bird. This isn't goodbye. I'm not gonna say goodbye.
We got your back, Lara.
Couldn't help but notice at the end there how much cleaner everyone else looks compared to Lara. Lara's filthy from everything she's gone through. You would have thought she would have cleaned up a teeny tiny bit by just diving into the water, but no. But this is all the final stretch. This first area, the mountain pass, doesn't have any collectibles, and then we go along the edge of the mountain village, which is, I think, like the first hub area we were in, but we go like right across the very edge of it. Like, we won't actually be a part of it. And the reason why there aren't any collectibles in this area is because you can't return to this area once you've gone through here. But we have another little cutscene, and I kind of like this one.
She's still alive.
Because exactly what you hope would happen happens.
The good doctor. What the hell are you doing, Whitman?
Who are these
The Stormguard.
people?
They guard the monastery. They wait only to be introduced to their new queen by the one who brought her back to us.
Of course. Of course. I've encountered these archaic tribes before. Let's get some awards, James.
What is he doing?
My name is Dr. James Whitman. I come to you in peace. I bring you your new queen.
Oh no.
Your queen. What is it in Japanese? Your Jo.
And that's how quickly they do away with Dr. Whitman, after all the bullshit he's put us through. Because if you read the notes and go through it, and there was a document that unfortunately I didn't get to show because I got it off screen, but I'll at least mention it so you guys are aware. There's a document you can find where Dr. Whitman was writing in his diary and openly admits that he plans to have everyone but himself die, so then he can sell the story of a lone survivor. Oh, I'm guessing the body that was here despawned. I was going to loot it, but oh well. So his death is even more satisfying if you know it, because you know what he was going to do. He was that obsessed with his own fame and trying to resurrect his dying career that he was prepared to make sure everyone else died so he alone would survive, because then, you know, that would make a better story, a lone survivor. But with this, a couple people won't leave the room, so if you do what I'm about to do now, which is burn this, they will notice. Jesus, what the fuck just blew up? Oh right, penetrating arrows. I hit the... yep, okay. I forgot I got penetrating arrows. It went straight through him and hit the barrels behind him. But it didn't look like that first shot. It didn't look like I hit a barrel, but I must have. But that second one, yeah, it just went straight through him and hit the barrel behind him. Penetrating arrows, duh. But you gotta be careful in this area moving forward. There's a few sections, like this one we're approaching, that I'm gonna immediately extinguish my torch. If you do anything to alert this, you won't make it. Simply put, you won't reach the other side. You can only alert it when it's scripted for them to be alerted to you, because you're just about to get away anyway. But if at any point during this you're overzealous, you jump around, you move too quickly, or heaven forbid try and shoot them, you will just die. Because look at how many there is. And they're still coming from the door as well. And whatever you do, don't land down there. If you land back down there, I'm not sure you can get up and be safe without being spotted. Yeah, actually, looking down, you can see there's a whole host of them looking exactly in the zone you'd fall into. And it also looks like it's water, so the splash would probably alert them as well, if nothing else. And you might be able to tell already, but there's a lot of skulls sitting on the edge. I wonder if one of them's going to knock down as we get there. Maybe for this one. Yep. Inhuman roars. They could have just put lion-like roars, because that was what they used as a sound clip for that, definitely. But you see, as we got through because they spotted us, it just makes this scripted section instead, which doesn't count. But if you're spotted legitimately before then, yeah, it's impossible to survive, straight up. But once you land back down here, you get another little bit of peace and quiet, but there will still be enemies approaching because the Stormguard are now aware of you. And unfortunately, their armor, well, unfortunately for them, their ancient armor wasn't built with bullets in mind. But they're surprisingly intelligent for, like, ancient zombies.
How can they be alive after all this time?
Because they're part of the curse. These are the Japanese samurai, so these aren't actually the Queen's Guard. These are the people that came after, which I guess were taken over after they died trying to get to Queen Himiko. But there is another camp here, the sheltered hallway.
The prayer I found on that general talked about a soul in a decaying body being the cause of the...
But here's the thing, and I get that they're trying to still play it as it's more realistic, so they take a lot to believe things could be wild. But at this point, when Reyes was like, well, why does he want Sam? Even then, I was like, probably because it's a sacrifice, transferred the soul that was in the dead body into a being that is a living one. Especially because it's already been said that Sam's a descendant of Queen Himiko. So it would make sense. But I guess they don't want that to be in the realms of possibility for the cast yet, even though it absolutely is. If you're wondering how to get the last journal entry, you get it upon completion. Because the last journal entry she writes, like, in the ending cutscene. So don't worry about it. If you got why have I missed one? Where is it? What am I supposed to do? And you're worried you're not going to get 100%. Don't worry about it. You will. It happens when the ending plays. And you can tell this is the mountain village area again because of the strong bloody wind. But like I said, this is a different section of it that you just can't access, and you can't get back to the other section either. There's loot there. I wonder how you get to it. Yeah, there isn't any collectibles. That rock was floating in midair. I don't know if you guys saw that. You can hear over the comms that trouble has already started for Reyes and Jonah. So we need to really keep moving before this shit kicks off too much. But this wind is... yeah. It's been an ongoing thing in section of this, of the really strong winds, but now they're going to reach ludicrous extents. Despite the fact that the arrows somehow fly through it perfectly. Look at how far away they were when they shot from us. And these strong winds didn't take the arrow away. How far, like, to the right, or to their right were they shooting? And that's like the main Oni, but we won't be dealing with him properly this part. We'll be dealing with him in a cutscene this part. But he is essentially our final boss, so we won't be fighting him properly this part, probably. So I want to do the actual finale last, because I want to save a bit of time to grind salvage to finish off our weapons. And I doubt I need to say it, but this is, like, extremely dangerous. Ow. In terms of difficulty-wise, it's the hardest you're going to get in this game. Jesus, Lara. I've got the expert finishers on not every weapon because they're part of the skills. And some of them are pretty goddamn brutal. I mean, look, that's... you want, like, this game's trying to be, like, more realistic, even with the supernatural shit, right? That strong wind would have carried the arrow for 8 eons away, right? Like, come on. With the shield guys, you're trying to injure them enough to get the shot in. I don't... okay, that just didn't work then. But that is what you're going for. You're doing this, like, the sharp dodge to get a free shot in. Alternatively, they're not the best at holding their shield, so you can just keep on pumping them until they fall over. I'll try and use each of my weapons, like, around the same since they're also upgraded, but the bow and to an extent the pistol kind of lose their warranty. Well, the pistol less so, but they kind of lose their warranty. They kind of lose their ability to be helpful. Which is another reason why I think it's ridiculous that they tried to make the bow a signature weapon, because it's just the worst option to go for in this part of the game. Because you have to charge up the arrow and do all this other stuff, whilst everything else is just a snap and a shot. And when there's so many enemies, you can't afford to try and charge and deal with one at a time. You need to be able to spray at them, like with a machine gun. Or if they get close with you, be able to get them away from you as quick as possible with a blast of a shotgun. If you need to do precision, you swap to the pistol because it's still quicker. The bow is the worst of the 4 weapons to bring into this section, yet it's the one they want to be your signature weapon, your main go-to. No, the dual pistols is a signature weapon, not the fucking bow. Ow. I might die. I'm one hit from anything away from death. I mean, I can try and use the bow, but... oh well, that just... okay, that just broke away anyway. But the good thing is, because there's little huts here, you can use it as cover. And there's even cover on the top. And grenades? Shit, alright. Whoa, how'd you get it? The expert finishes don't cost any ammo, despite the fact you're clearly shooting them. So don't worry about it, just go for it. That's gonna, yep. As soon as I was approaching it, I was like, that's pretty gonna open and have like explosives or shit in it, so I just like pre-fired and got him. That can make up for the time they rolled a barrel down the stairs and I didn't shoot it until it was already like right next to me. But this is your last push. You kill all the enemies here, you're done with this section per se. Oh, I wonder if I would have... I hope I get enough experience to at least do that, so I'm only grinding for salvage. And just because, like, if you're going through it yourself and you're like, well, how am I going to grind for salvage? All I do is go to the opening, like the first camp you can, kill all the deers there with the you get salvage from killing animals, go back to camp so it saves, and then reload checkpoint, and then just do it again. Because it's the quickest way I can think of to do it. Because there's just next to no enemies spawn in the main game elsewhere after you've dealt with that area. Even Shantytown is going to be pretty quiet. So it just becomes a bit more of a pain in the arse to hunt down enemies to loot them. So you might as well just do it with things that you can guarantee are always going to be there. Animals. Because the other strategy that's pretty quick is a bit, because you have to kill all but one enemy in a part of the map. Like I want to say it might be a part of Shantytown. Because if you kill them all, even if you reload the checkpoint, they'll still all be dead. So you kill all but one, and then you go back to camp, reload checkpoint, go back over there, and they've all respawned. But it's just a bit more work that you don't need. But take the opportunity to loot now, because that's the end of that section. And when you press on up, we'll have our encounter with the Oni. But this isn't the main one, this is just an encounter. Like this is the final boss that we're looking at, but this isn't the final boss fight that we're in now. This is just a bunch of this is just a cutscene where things are going to happen for us. And this idiotically strong wind literally lifted Lara off her feet. If she hadn't like dug the pick in, she wouldn't be alive. So let's just get into safety before we get pushed off to oblivion again. And starting from here, you're now in a space where collectibles exist. Because this is the last area you can return to. The moment we pass that door, this is the last area that has like quick travel camps that you can visit and such. So be on the lookout for collectibles. But almost all of them are literally on the path. So don't worry about it too much. We can't get the silence. Not that it matters. If I'm going to use a silence weapon, I use the pistol. I see that there is a fast travel point here. But there are collectibles around here, so you need to be on the lookout for them as you go. Such as here. Soldiers' last stand. The Japanese soldiers. You know, I figured that even when they pushed inland, they all died. Well, this is your confirmation. The Oni massacred all of them. And I guess the soldiers that were eventually became like possessed zombie things because of the Oni. And they're what we've been fighting as we've been pushing.
I'm that last one. What is my fate? Will I become one of them? Ancestors, hear me.
And Lara's note on the side, and they had no idea why they were here, and they died alone. That's kind of brutal when you think about it.
Let me die in peace.
But that's it for the soldiers, the poor bastards. And there's another treasure over here on the side. It's a good thing I checked around before I went on. Oh right, there's only vases in here. Those 3 vases are your free collectibles for this section, and that's it. Or urns. Which is a bit weird, but at the same time a bit familiar. But like any time like older games have done relics and artifacts, they always kind of make the last area of the game have like its own class all to itself. So I guess it makes sense that this would do it as well. Okay, there's a relic under there as well. I'm going to be a bit more explorative because I don't really want to backtrack through here afterwards. I want to try and find everything as I go through, just because I've 100%ed everywhere else now. I've got into that mind. But here's our second vase.
How did this get all the way to Yamatai?
And to be fair, these vases, I suppose, are effective teasers to where Lara goes next. Because these vases all come from areas that Lara will explore in future games in the reboot trilogy.
It had to be done. Lara left.
Oh, here it is.
If I thought she could play the game, I might have.
Here's a one of good old Whitman.
Have the grit for this business. She isn't ruthless enough. And
You foolish man, in the end your ambition got the better of you.
I've crossed the line. It won't look good, so. As unfortunate as it may be, she can't make it off this island. None of them can. And whatever happens with Sam, it just makes this whole story all the more newsworthy. I don't think Matthias or his Solari can be reasoned with, so I'll need to slip away as soon as this ritual is completed. I'll make the perfect sole survivor, returning with the authorities, the cameras, and an appropriately convincing expression of sorrow.
Yeah, because just in case you needed any more proof, any more evidence that Whitman has been a complete piece of shit and will always be. Like, keep him. Has there ever been at a single point throughout the entirety of this game where he hasn't been someone I've had a reason to dislike? Like, even right from the very beginning, I was like, this Whitman guy is an absolute arse. I made it very clear, like, right from the get-go that you have no reason to ever like Whitman. So now finding out and confirming, because I said it already hinted at with other notes, but absolutely confirming he had every intention of making sure no one else lived so he could go home with a sole survivor and get the extra fame out of it. So he even tried to play Matthias along, but Matthias has been around a lot longer than Whitman has in terms of survivability. So him thinking with his wits and sharp cameras can get through was never going to work. Matthias, of course, just led him to his death, knowing far better than Whitman ever was going to. Because Whitman's just an arrogant, egotistical idiot. I say that most people with a high ego are. Hey, and that's the map! So I can actually check if I've actually got all the collectibles or not. But anyway, the idea of this puzzle, because I've already kind of done it, so I might as well talk about it, is you open up the cage, lift up the cage, launch it into the rock, and then you need to get on top of the cage whilst it's swinging again, so you can get between the crack that you've made in the rock. But as you can tell by that first swing there, pretty goddamn high, so we need to find a way to lower it. But if you just lower the cage, it will drop straight back into the hole. So we need to close the cage, so then when it lowers, it just hits it and bounces up again. And your hint towards this really is the fact that there's a little hole in the middle of it for that spike to land perfectly in between. But even though that spike's bigger and would definitely break it, it gives enough of an impression that you should do that. See? And it will stay put there, even though that shouldn't have any remote effect on the chain, and it should just really just have sunk onto it and isn't moving at all. But it will move perfectly fine. So yank it again. Time your jump. And then get ready to time the other side of it. The only thing to be wary of is that it smacks into the wall when you get to the other side, which might throw you off a little. And now we get our last confirmation that Sam is definitely the next person, and the Sun Queen is trying to transfer her soul into another body.
Chosen priestess enters the monastery, and she's given your power and becomes the new queen. Wait a minute.
Many have given up their souls willingly for this gift.
Now the first and last queen lives a half-life, a soul in a decaying body.
Vessels. It's not transferring power, it's transferring a soul. All these queens, they're all you, Himiko. First and last. Oh God. And now you want Sam. Well, you're not getting her.
And there you go. Even though that bit there of her being the first and last, possessing everybody, is a twist that I kind of saw coming. Like, I think everyone saw it coming once you start working your way through it. I still credit it because I thought it was a pretty cool twist. Even if it was obvious, I think the idea of it is pretty cool. Also, here's the last note of the first priestess who found out and worked out that what Queen Yamatai was going to do, and she realised that the only way she could get around it is for her to kill herself. Well, this isn't the last, this is one of the several along the way, because her killing herself when Himiko tried to take over is what caused this whole thing to begin with, of her trapped in a dead body.
Stormguard General. By the time he realizes what I have done, it will be too late. For the sake of Yamatai and all the priestesses that would follow me, I must die.
But for the sake of changing their fates, we gotta make sure the same doesn't have to happen to Sam to stop Himiko. We gotta make sure we can get Sam out of here alive and destroy Himiko. And it's a lot quieter now, have you noticed? There's no music, it's just the wind passing through. There's one more collectible I need to keep an eye out for, and then we have everything. Which will probably just be around here as we go. There's a few more salvage boxes that give you such a piss poor amount of salvage, it makes you wonder why they're there. And that's the last camp, and there's your warning. Once you open the door beyond this point, you are in no return. You will not be able to come back until after you've done the final boss.
Satsuma porcelain vase.
So get your last collectible. If you're missing anything, quick travel away from this camp, using this camp that's here. But I have everything other than Lara's last journal entry, because like I said, you get that for beating the game. So rest at this camp. I'm going to do all your preparations. I've got one last skill point to spend because I hit max level. See, for everything else I just need to get this. I'll spend the last of my salvage, and then off screen I'm going to quick travel away to that very first camp and grind the last salvage so I can have everything 100%ed since we're so close. But that being said, next time on Tomb Raider 2013, we end this. We attack Queen Himiko and we try and rescue Sam. Who knows how it will all end up. But until then, you guys take care now.